Welcome back. This is the Goblins Worksheet, Planning and Preparing Your Negotiating Agenda, Part 2. This time it's tactical. All right, so there is the Goblins Planning Worksheet. And last time we looked at the top half. Now we are focusing on the bottom. We're looking at the tactical side, especially this little gem right in the center there, which is the Lin matrix. And this is the core of our negotiating agenda. We have scoped out our negotiation by picking variables. Where did these variables come from? They came from part one, where we looked at the objective. What do I want from the other side? And I made that shopping list. Well, now I'm price comparing and deciding what size I want, what color I want, how long I want it to last. And I'm taking all this stuff and I'm packaging it into a few key variables. In our theoretical work, I'm going to insist on 3 variables. Sometimes it's less. It really shouldn't be less. Sometimes it's a lot more, and you want to be careful of that. So the variables might be cost, they might be size or weight, it might be quality, it might be material, but you're going to have all these, you're going to scope out your negotiation by deciding on what you're sharing with the other person. This is now public. Everything in the strategic section was just within your organization. Now you're in front of the counterparty and you are sharing things. And this is the first thing you're going to share is what you would like to get in terms of variable 1, 2, and 3. And variable 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, whatever, is capturing everything you want. You're not assuming he's just going to, you're not assuming anything. You're not counting on custom. Remember, we're negotiating in cross-cultural barriers, so there's a lot of room for misunderstanding. The agenda, I told you this is the core of the agenda. This is the variable section, which includes relationship, and I'll talk to you about that in a sec. This also includes the process of negotiation. And we are focusing in this class, we're focusing a lot on the online type of negotiation. So would you want, if you want this deal, if this deal serves you and you've got a pretty low BATNA, you want to insist on regular meetings in this sort of video format. Whereas if you are more of an avoider or more competitive, you don't care that much, you might say, no, let's not decide on that, or email is fine. Or we can just call each other when we have something to say. So process is one of the other things that contributes to your agenda. And finally, time. Time can be strategic or it can be tactical. We're going to learn both. So here is a typical Lin's matrix. Across the top, this is for a real estate deal. So going back to our analogy, I'm setting up a management center or an operations center for a multinational client in an Asian, in an Asian economy. And I want to be in a special economic zone or in a, right in the center of a business district. So here is what my Lin's matrix as a buyer might look like. What I'd like to get is relatively cheap. And money is my #1 priority because it always is. So I make that first. So I prioritize this. 35 to 40. Bottom line is 45. I can do better just by going to going to someone I already have business with. The district. This is what I would like. I'd like to be an A. If worse comes to, but I need a presence. And here's how you would indicate you've got a low BATNA. You're willing to look at what they've got in an undesirable district if it will get you in because you need to start registering a business. Same thing with length of contract. You would prefer to settle for 10 years in a good location at a good price. That is your starting position. Where you end up is another matter, and you know that. So you know you're going to start off very ambitious, and you're going to end up someplace a little bit less ambitious. And that's why you are going to wrap all this up and you're going to come up with 2 styles when we negotiate. We're going to decide how we enter the room and how we leave the room. What do I mean by style? I mean your conflict style. This is from the Kilman. What do I mean by style? Your conflict style. This is from something called the Kilman conflict style instrument. It just determines how you deal with stress and conflict. If you are on the left side of the graph is how much you care about your own agenda. On the x-axis, the bottom, the horizontal axis, it's how much you care about the other side. If all you care about is yourself, you just want to sell this used car and never see that person again, you are competitive. You want the best deal you can possibly get. And if the other side suffers, that's really not your problem. On the other extreme is the accommodator. Here you're doing business with the government, or you're doing business with Walmart, or you're doing business in a situation where you have very little power and you just want it to be over with. You're a price taker. You just need this deal to get done. You need the government to approve your project. So you'll wait online, or you'll send someone to wait online. And in the middle, not really in the middle, but a combination of the two is collaborative. This is win-win. This is when you're negotiating with a partner who's roughly your size and stature, and you think that 2 + 2 = 5. You can make this a win-win opportunity by structuring the deal strategically and then having a collaborative style approach to the negotiation. And the other extreme is the avoider. Avoiding negotiators are often the most powerful because they don't want to negotiate. They're happy with the status quo. And you have to negotiate with them twice. You have to negotiate with them about whether to have a negotiation and then about the actual terms of the deal. So you'll notice I didn't really talk about compromise, yet we all see ourselves as professionals who compromise. Compromise is a great place to end up, but a terrible place to start. And if you're American, you like to begin as from a competitive position and end up as a compromiser. If you are Asian, you want to start off as a collaborative negotiator, a collaborative partner, and compromise towards something more in the middle, where there's a little bit less of a commitment. If the other side has approached you, you may find yourself as an avoider or accommodator who is going to be compensated in some way. Well, the avoider is going to be compensated in some way for reaching a compromise. The accommodator will compromise the counterparty in some way for reaching a compromise. So it's a great place to end up, but not a good place to begin. Okay, in the coming hours and days, we are going to delve into this more, but this is the basic roadmap. So be familiar with this, be at least familiar with the terms, and what we're going to be putting a lot of emphasis on in this course is how we move from goals to variables to tactics. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you again soon.